The sun burned the desert like a furnace. A vulture wheeled low above a broken wagon, its shadow gliding across cracked earth. Inside the wreck, a young woman lay tangled in ropes. Her lips were split, her skin pale as paper. Flies crawled along her wrists where the rope had bitten deep. Her breath came thin and dry. A half-empty water skin lay near her feet, dropped, maybe, by the ones who tied her there. That small mercy was the only reason she was still alive. From the ridge came the sound of hooves. Elias McCrae was riding back from town, following the old wagon trail through the Badlands. When he spotted the wagon, it looked long abandoned, wheel split, paint blistered by the sun. He might have kept riding, but a faint moan drifted through the wind. He stopped, hand on the butt of his Colt, and stepped closer. The smell hit him first, sweat, blood, and rope. Then he saw her, a woman maybe 25, wrists and ankles bound, dress torn and stiff with dirt. For a moment he thought she was dead. Then her eyes flickered open, cloudy and full of fear. "I beg you, it hurts," she whispered. Elias froze. The word struck him harder than any bullet. He cut the ropes, catching her before she fell. Her body burned with fever, light as a child's. From his saddlebag he pulled a canteen and touched the water to her lips, slow and careful. She coughed, then swallowed. A tremor ran through her hands, half pain, half hunger. "How long have you been here?" he asked quietly. Her mouth moved, but no sound came. He carried her into the shade, cleaned her wounds with what little water he had, and tore his sleeve into bandages. A small silver cross hung at her throat, sticky with dried blood. She clutched it like it was the only thing keeping her in this world. The wind lifted sand across the plain, whispering through the bones of the old wagon. Elias looked around. No tracks, no wagon team. Whoever left her had wanted her found this way, or not at all. He lifted her onto his horse and turned west toward Sagebrush Bend. The sun bled gold behind them as he whispered, "You're safe now, girl. Just hold on." But even as he said it, he felt it deep down, this wasn't just cruelty. It was a warning. May woke to the smell of coffee and would smoke. For a heartbeat she thought she'd crossed over. Then the pain came rushing back. She tried to sit up, but her arms screamed. Bandages covered her wrists, clean, not her own doing. A low voice came from near the stove. "Easy now. You've been out a full day." Elias sat by the fire, stirring beans in a tin pot, a fresh burn on his forearm where the rope had rubbed. "Where am I?" she whispered. "Sagebrush Bend. My place. You were near gone when I found you." For 2 days she drifted in and out of sleep, waking only to sip broth Elias made from beans and herbs. He spoke little, but never left her alone too long. On the third morning, the fever broke. When she drank water, it hit her stomach like life itself. Tears came before she could stop them. "Thank you," she said, voice trembling. Elias nodded. "You want to tell me who did this?" Her hands shook around the cup. "It was my boss," she whispered. "Victor Hale. I worked for the Hales by the river. He came to the barn that night, tried to touch me. I hit him with a bucket. His wife saw and thought I was trying to take him. She always hated me. That night gave her the excuse she wanted. They tied me up, said I'd learn what shame feels like." Elias stared into the fire, jaw tight. "And they left you there?" She nodded. "I didn't cry till you found me. Guess that's when it felt safe enough to hurt." He handed her a bowl of beans. "Eat." She smiled faintly. "You always feed strangers like this." "Only the half-dead ones." She laughed softly, the first good sound that house had heard in a long while. Outside, cicadas screamed in the heat. Inside, for a moment, there was peace. Then Elias saw the tracks. Fresh hoofprints heading west. Too heavy for drifters. Someone knew she was alive, and they were coming. By dawn the dogs were barking. Elias went to the window. 3 riders approached, dust curling behind them. At the front rode Victor Hale, his grin sharp as a blade. "You got something of mine, McCrae," he called. Elias didn't move. "Don't see your name on her." Victor spat. "She's a liar and a thief." May stepped into the doorway behind Elias. "You left me to die." Victor's face twisted. He lunged from his horse, shouting. Elias met him halfway, and the 2 men crashed into the dirt, fists flying. They rolled in the dust until Elias pinned him down, both bleeding. "Go home," Elias said, breathing hard. "Next time, bring the truth." Victor staggered up, spitting red. "This ain't over." He mounted and rode off into the wind. 2 days later, the sheriff rode in with Victor beside him. Alonzo Ortega was a man with gray eyes and a badge that carried more wear than shine. "I hear you're keeping a woman that don't belong to you," he said. "She belongs to herself," Elias answered. "Ask her." May stepped forward, voice steady. "I stole nothing. They tied me and left me to die." Victor laughed. "She's crazy. You can see that." The sheriff's deputy found the old wagon near the dry creek, rope fibers, blood, and a scrap of cloth with the Hale brand still stitched in gold. When May saw it, she whispered, "That's mine. He used it to gag me." The sheriff looked long at Victor. "You got a strange way of treating your help, Hale." His hand rested near his pistol, not drawing, just reminding. "Maybe not today. But I'll be watching you." Victor's face went red as he turned his horse. "You'll regret this, McCrae." Then he was gone. The sheriff tipped his hat. "Keep her safe. Some men only learn when the Lord teaches them himself." When the riders disappeared, the valley fell quiet again. May leaned against the doorway, tears mixing with dust. Elias stood beside her, eyes on the horizon. "You think he'll come back?" she asked. "Men like him always do. But not today. Today we rest." The weeks turned to months. The scars on her wrists faded, and so did the fear in her eyes. She learned to mend fences, feed cattle, ride down to the creek alone. Elias watched from a distance, quiet, but always near enough if she needed him. One night, May brought him a bowl of stew. He smiled. "You cook better than any trail hand I've met." She laughed. "Guess hunger makes everything taste good." He looked at her, really looked. "You gave this place life again. Guess we both needed saving." The wind outside carried the sound of crickets and slow water. May reached across the table and laid her hand on his. No words, just knowing. Spring came to Sagebrush Bend, and wildflowers bloomed where blood had once dried. A cradle sat by the window, blankets folded inside. Elias stepped in from the yard, sunlight on his shoulders. "You know," he said softly, "this place finally feels like home." She smiled. "It always was. We just had to earn it. And maybe that's the lesson buried in the dust of the old frontier, that pain can shape you, kindness can save you, and sometimes the ones who rescue us are the ones who were lost themselves. Now tell me, if you'd ridden past that broken wagon on that summer day, would you have stopped?"